Is Mo joining us from Skype in 2006?
Is it just really that bad? Like
it's really bad.
I don't have an answer for you. I don't know what I can do. I'm on the Zoom.
I don't know. You look like a bad hologram from a late 90s movie.
Oh, nice. Which you're the movie expert. Which one do you have?
It's probably Johnny Mnemonic, if I'm being honest. Like it's probably like something like that.
Oh,
Yeah.
that hurts.
Yeah.
All right.
Definitely one of the bad Keanu ones. No, it's actually not clear enough for Lawnmower Man, Dave. It's
keeping this all in.
Leave all this in. Yeah. Yeah, like the original Trump, not the one with Olivia Wilde.
First day and age.
Or Olivia Munn? I don't know. One of those Olivias were
it was Wilde, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. And her real last name's Cockburn. So, all right, let's get this going. Welcome to the basketball.
Wait, what?
Olivia Wilde's real last name is Cockburn.
This is real?
This is real.
Jay doesn't listen to Cinephobe.
Look it up, man.
Jay doesn't listen to Cinephobe.
Well, look, I'll do it right. Leave all this in. Olivia Wilde, born Olivia Jane Cockburn.
Yeah. Is it Coburn?
We shouldn't even talk about anything else today.
Like Kofi Coburn?
No, it's Cockburn.
So is Kofi Coburn.
What?
The former Illinois center.
That's not Coburn, though. That's Cockburn.
That's Coburn.
I'm going to have to apologize for everybody because this is what led us down this road is my internet.
This is a Christian Braun situation. You don't get just to like tell us your name is spelled one way, but it's pronounced another. I don't like it's Christian Braun. It's not Christian Brown. I refuse. I will never call him Christian Brown until he changes the spelling of his name. Leave all this in. This is a good cold open right here.
Kofi Coburn.
A disaster. Okay.
Olivia Jane Cockburn. Yeah. What a name.
Yeah. Known professionally as Olivia Wilde. Welcome to the Basketball's edition of the Athletic NBA Show podcast on the Athletic Podcast Network. I'm your host, Zach Harper. We got J. King. We got Mo Dakhil. We got Trevon Edwards. We got Dave DeFore producing. They can't even be off the rails. We got no rails right now. Obviously, talking about the big story in the NBA. Everyone's talking about it. It's the Bucks hiring Adrian Griffin. That's the lead story for today. No offense, Bucks fans. Look, he's highly respected. It'll probably be good, or maybe it won't be. I don't know. But we're not going to break that down. You can go check out any of the coverage from Eric Name for that. We're talking one thing and one thing only. It's Game 7. The Boston Celtics have done what only 3 other teams in NBA history have done before, and that is force a Game 7 when going down 0-3 in a playoff series. Last ones to do it were the Blazers, forced a Game 7 against the Dallas Mavericks. We had the 1994 Nuggets force one against the Jazz in their magical run. And then what was it? Rochester. The Knicks forced it against Rochester in like 1951. I think those are the only 3. Game 7 has never been won before, but ever since Game 4 happened, everybody's convinced that the Heat are going to be the first ones in history to lose this series after going up 3-0. I refuse to believe it's going to happen until it happens. Although that's not true. I was hoping it would happen last year when the Raptors were down 0-3 because I thought that was the funniest possibility of Doc Rivers, James Harden, Joel team being the first team to blow an 0-3 lead. I will always refuse to believe it's going to happen until I actually see it. Like this isn't even a Heat thing. This is just I don't believe that it's going to be completed because teams are 0-150 when doing it. But Jay, you were there. The Celtics blow up like the last 2 minutes for them were bad.
That would have been such a bad loss. It would have been an epic meltdown.
Yeah,
I would have blamed that shit on Top Golf.
You can't blame that on Top Golf, right? Come on.
I mean, I read the story.
Film instead.
I read the story. I read the material. I read the Athletic, man. Yeah. So
make sure you subscribe. No, and then Derek White out of nowhere, like Max Strus doesn't box out. He loses the inbounder. Derek White flies in there. Here's the thing that I was really bothering me last night, and thankfully I was too drunk to tweet about it and tweet back a bit. I could not stand the hall monitoring of, well, they took, they put 9/10 of a second or 4/10 of a second on, and that's the difference of what, blah blah blah. Yes, but we can't assume that things happen in a vacuum, right? So if they have 2.6 or 2.1 or whatever, the Celtics still could have won that. Then maybe Marcus Smart, makes the shot or something, or they get it to someone else. Like, I just hate the kind of like hand wringing over, oh, well, this amount of clock time, box out, and it's not an issue. Like, all you have to do if you're Max Strus is box out, and it's not an issue. And so, Jay, like, how much did your game story change in about 30 seconds?
Thank God we don't. Thank God we don't have hard deadlines.
I know, man. That would have been effed.
Because for the people with hard deadlines, that was just rip up your whole story, write it all again, and then do it all over again. Because first the Jimmy thing happened, and so that's when I'm sure writers are like, I can't believe this happened. I can't believe I got
horrible game, and he gets a foul on a 3-pointer, makes all three. Like, this is the hero's journey, right? Like,
by the way, there was never any doubt Jimmy was going to make all three of those.
Oh no,
there was not one person in the world who thought he might.
There was this dude stressed out of his mind. He's like a Lakers fan, but he's such a Lakers fan that he's just like anti-Boston, right? So he's like, he's rooting his ass off. He is screaming at Jimmy Butler, "What are you doing?" throughout this game, like just next to me at the bar. No idea who this guy is. He keeps trying to like strike a conversation. I'm like, buddy, I'm just here to drink and watch the game. I don't want to get into this, like, whatever. and but the one time I engaged with him, he's like, "Oh man, we just need Jimmy to make two of these." I just looked up, I was like, he's gonna make all three. Like, it's like there's no doubt in my mind Jimmy Butler's going to make all three.
Have you ever witnessed Jimmy Butler in any type of situation like that? He was going to make them all, and they were never going to be close to missing. And of course, he made them all. And the Heat decided to take away Jason Tatum, which turned out to be
that's the play.
They decided
I would have
to
lived
take
with him
away
shooting
Jason
that shit,
Tatum.
man. I ain't gonna lie.
He had made a 3-all game, but it's, I mean, in retrospect, it's like, sure, but so many things had to go right for that putback to get in time. Like,
I watched
Marcus
that
Smart
play.
released that so quickly. He released it so quickly. Like, he just spun into his shot, didn't really set himself. He said he had it in mind that they didn't get a shot off against Philly late in that game, and he wanted to give them a chance to not just get the first shot off, but get a second chance opportunity. Then the ball bounced directly to Derek White, who
perfect, just absolutely perfect,
perfectly.
Who at first popped out.
It was all perfect
to the corner three, and then dashed toward the bucket. Max Strus like hustled back to him, but it was a little bit too late. It was so many things had to go right. Let me explain just for that to happen.
Everybody, even including myself, was on Max Strus. That was Bam's man. The switch, he was supposed to pass him off to. He was supposed to pass the big off to. He's supposed to pass Al over to Max because they chased on the double to get Tatum. So he's way out of reach. He's all the way at the 3-point line. There's no recovery unless he's like he's Flash. You know what I'm saying? So you have to pass off the closest man. Bam is ball me man. He has to go down, check, box.
Everybody's watching though, right? Like everyone needs to go. Like that's got to be five.
You got to find a man. Yeah, ball me man.
Everybody's got to crash. Everybody's got to crash. Even the weak side. Was it Caleb Martin on the weak side? Who was on the weak side? Somebody there.
I think it was Caleb.
You just can't. And you can't just let. That was just unbelievable. And Jason Tatum was wide open, but Jimmy Butler didn't even box him out.
Yeah, if it had bounced the other way, Jason Tatum might have actually put it back in.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think the thing with the shot, like the Heat did the right thing. They got the like Marcus Smart's taking a game winner. That's 100%. That's the best outcome you can have if you're the Heat. That isn't a turnover, right? It's just then you got to rebound. Like you gotta go like just go grab the ball. That's all it is. It felt very very Heat Spurs.
My only quibble is just putting Max Strus to double off Tatum. It makes it such an easy pass for Derek White, too smart, when you just nobody guarding the inbounder. Like in these situations, they have no timeouts. you got to put somebody on the ball, I think, and just make it hard for the passer. That was an easy play for Derek White to just inbound it to Marcus Smart, and it was a perfect catch so that Smart was able to just turn and go right into it and get that shot off so fast. Like, to me, that's just like my biggest quibble. Otherwise, shit happens. Like, there's nothing else you can.
Can we talk about Duncan Robinson's 2 open looks?
Oh, dude, someone gave me shit over this. Like, oh yeah, you knew this was this first, because he had that one like near the logo, right? He had that one near the logo, like he just fired that thing, knocks it down. He's fired up, and I'm in a group chat with some Miami people. I'm like, okay, so you can rely on Duncan, Gabe, and Caleb right now. Like those guys look like they're ready for it. Jimmy was struggling big time. Bam was afraid of the ball, but those guys like had the guts, right? And then when he had the first of the 2 open looks they missed, he hesitates. He takes that dumbass gather dribble, which I cannot fucking stand when shooters do that. Like, just let that thing fly. And as soon as he hesitated, I knew it was gonna miss, and I knew you couldn't rely on him the rest of the game. Like, just for that reason, Trey. Like, I just think like the shooter. Like I said this on Twitter, I was like, shooters let it fly. Like, shooters shoot. They don't like check the barometer. And he checked it, and I hate that shit, man. I really hate that, because he was like having a good redemption moment, and then at that point, like he psyched himself out. And this is a dude who is admitted to, who is it, Ramona Shelburne, like that he suffers from imposter syndrome and all this. Like, that dude's got to be absolutely no thinking when he's shooting. It just has to fly. And once he hesitated on the first one, I was like, all right, well, he's out for the rest of the game. I had no idea Jimmy was going to come back and make plays like the way he did, but I was just like, okay, it's down to Gabe and Caleb. That can't be a good strategy.
What a wild game.
Transition 3, though, I thought that transition 3 I thought was going in, though. I thought that was just going to be bottoms as soon as he caught it. I was like, oh God, how'd they leave him open? Just an unbelievable.
They knew. They knew he was out.
But this is also the same collapse the Celtics nearly had in Game 7 last year. Like, it was almost identical in that sense, It was, except the fact that Miami never took a lead in that game. But you saw that collapse, and the same thing happens here. They're up 10 in this game with like 4 minutes left, and they choked the lead away and just got lucky with Derek White.
They just had 0.3 of a second that they needed. Yeah.
Today's show is brought to you by Front Door. Download the Front Door app and get a free video chat. We all have that long, incredibly nagging home to-do list that we keep putting off. It's full of annoying stuff that just needs to be fixed. A dripping dishwasher, hole in the drywall, or maybe your dryer is not actually drying your clothes. Well, wouldn't it feel great to get all that done? Well, now you can, and it's easier than ever. Introducing Front Door, the all-new one-stop home repair and maintenance app. Front Door lets you video chat with experts in real time so you can diagnose the problem faster. Sometimes you can fix it yourself on the video chat, or Front Door will send you a list of vetted and trusted pros to come out and help solve the problem. With a Front Door membership, it's easy to cross things off your home to-do list and enjoy that feeling of done. Download the app now and get a free video chat with an expert to start solving your problems today.
Jay, this is the thing that I'm fascinated by, is we have these two teams over the last 4 years, and now it's the third meeting in the conference finals, right? The series in the bubble was great, right? You have Bam's block on the Tatum dunk as like one of the defining moments and all this stuff. Then they meet last year. Jimmy Butler misses that 3 and they eke out a win. Now this is going to a Game 7. Like, we talk about all these other things, and granted, like Giannis in the middle of that won a title, right? And the Bucks have been really good. And we talked about the Nets, and we talked about the Sixers and what can they do. But these two teams like own the Eastern Conference right now, and it's very fitting. As much as I wanted a sweep just to rub it in your face about Heat culture, I am legitimately glad that this has happened the way it has, because 1, it's a fucking Game 7. 2, history's on the line. Yeah. And 3, I get to yell at anyone who's going to wonder who has more pressure. It's Game 7 going to the NBA Finals. You win, you go to the NBA Finals. No one has more pressure than the other. Like, everyone has an equal amount of pressure. It's so dumb. Like, that's going to be a talking point tomorrow. Or I guess Monday, whenever the hell this comes out. But But Jay, like these two teams own the East.
Yeah, and not only that, but every series they've played has just been
It's absurd.
war.
It's absurd basketball.
And it always comes down to like just a play. Just a play. The Bam block on Tatum. Last year, Butler's pull up. This year, maybe it's the White layup. Like, it just comes down to one play between two teams that are super tough and super committed. That was the most fun part of Game 6 to me, was just the desperation on both sides. And Kyle Lowry has had nothing since the first half of Game 1 in this series.
Really,
And that dude was pulling out nonsense just because he's a super competitor. Like that bucket he had over Jaylen Brown.
Oh, that was nuts, man.
It was the most old man shit.
It was such a YMCA move, man.
I have ever seen.
It had no business going in. It had zero business falling. Like I was watching this going like, what are we doing here?
No, Virtuosity's right. It had no business going in.
He had literally no prayer of getting an inch of separation between him and Jaylen Brown, and somehow was able to sneak a bucket over the top. But Lowry made plays. Jimmy summoned everything he had left over the last 4 minutes after struggling. Bam couldn't score, but had so many offensive rebounds.
Yeah, he was great on the boards. Yeah,
the Celtics went 7 for 35, their worst shooting night of the season, and they haven't been able to win while missing threes all year and just dig one out. It was just two teams absolutely desperate, competitive as hell, and it was just such fun basketball.
Mo, are you concerned about how much Jimmy has struggled going into Game 7? Like maybe it's just not going to matter and he's just going to nut up and like Game 7's going to be another great Jimmy performance, but he's not been good last couple of games.
He's got no legs. He had a dunk in the first quarter that he barely got over the rim.
That was a rim. Like, that was a rim grazer, man. That was a power layup. That wasn't a dunk. Like,
yeah. No, it was like just barely. And it was one of those things that I don't know how much legs he has left. I think he gave everything he possibly could at the end of that Game 6. The three on the sideline, that was wild. And all the plays he was making and things like that. I don't know if he has any energy left for Game 7. Like it won't shock me because, again, I always think Jimmy's a bit of a psychopath, but I would still don't know where it would come from. Like Zach, the legs aren't going to get much better on Monday.
No,
after playing the game he just played, right? Like they're flying on Sunday, play the game, and then it's not like there's anywhere where he gets to rest for 24 straight hours. Like I don't know where he's going to get the juice.
He sat a minute 20 of that game. Like, and I would imagine
can he even?
You might get a minute of rest.
20 in Game 7,
and you definitely cannot sit Bam because Cody Zeller is barbecue chicken.
Dude. Oh, you can't play Duncan and Cody Zeller at the same time. Like and Lowry really like those three together can't exist.
Cody Zeller was kind of surprised there was over 221, and I was shocked it was as good as -7. Like that could have been a 15 over.
It felt like -50.
Yeah.
But I was shocked there was no Highsmith. I thought he was good in Game 5 for them. I thought he could have helped them a little bit in Game 6, and I would have avoided the Zeller minutes. Like, just play small at that point. But
I don't know if you could play that small. I don't know.
Yeah, that's super small.
That's pretty small.
You're playing Cody. You're playing Cody Zeller. You're better off playing 4 guys instead of 5. Like, what?
It's funny that this just keeps coming out of a frozen face. You really got to watch it. You really got to watch on YouTube. You got to go to our page on YouTube, subscribe, because it's so distracting for me. I should be way more professional. I'm just so distracted by the bad internet. Why did you use dial-up today?
I thought change it up today. Let's kind of go old school. Yeah. See what we got.
Because we got like an old school matchup. Yeah. Trey, if you're the Heat, you're going on the road. Everyone believes you're going to blow this. Even Heat fans are shaking right now. They're shook on Twitter. Like they're not in a good place. They hate this team again.
Today's show is brought to you by Philo. Visit philo.tv and use the promo code NBA Show to get 50% off your first month. There's nothing better than unwinding, watching a little TV every now and then. But the hassle of finding what to watch, and to be fair, the cost of cable just doesn't make it worth it. That's why I completely cut the cord. And if you love TV, Philo is your solution. Philo has shows, movies, and live TV for just $25 a month. No contracts, no commitments, no hassle, just a better way to watch TV. Philo also has unlimited DVR for 1 year, so you can save all those shows that you're probably never going to get around to watching. It also allows multiple profiles and multiple streams, so everyone in the house can have their own saved shows and up to 3 streams at the same time. And if you can't get enough TV, there's no better way to watch because Philo has over 70 channels, including BET, VH1, AMC, and Vice. If you're still not convinced, try it yourself with a free 7-day trial. Sign up today at philo.tv. That's philo.tv and use promo code NBA Show to get 50% off your first month.
Trey, what do you think? Like the Heat, I think you have to obviously take away the 3-point line because that's just where the Celtics kill you. But what, like, does anything change with the strategy? Because it kind of felt like they got lucky to be in that game last night.
They just gotta play. They just gotta play the game as if like there's no game tomorrow. You know what I mean? They gotta kind of play the perfect game, and that's the thing about playing on the road is because, like, you know, Jay can attest to, like, it's going to be loud. It's going to be unbearable. It's going to be some calls that might not feel like that's working in your favor that you normally get at the crib. You just got to leave it all out there. And I mean, I don't want to say Jimmy Butler is one of them players that doesn't have back-to-back bad games, but he's going to have to play a great game. You know what I mean? Like, his supporting cast is going to have to step it up. You know what I mean? Like, if you're hurt and you're still out there suiting up, you're going to have to play a good game. And I think the Celtics, they got all the confidence that they needed. After they got one, they were just like, all right, let's stop playing with these dudes. And it's always tough when you got the pressure of blowing it. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, that's another thing. You don't want everybody's saying, "Oh, Spo get fired after this," because, you know, it's just the copycat league. I don't think Spo's getting fired anyway. But
there'd be 29 teams offering him the head coaching job if that happens.
Yeah, that's a fact. But it's just hard to, you know, be known as that, and, you know, obviously they want to show up and deliver, but it just all depends on what team shows up and what shots are being made. Like, if Jimmy can play better and not go 4 for 20 or 5 for 21, whatever it was, I think that's going to be the key. That dude was so bad that to a point where people were like, oh, you know, I was like, is he hurt? And somebody's like, don't do that. And I was like,
no, I legitimately had the same question.
I was like, it's a valid question.
Yeah,
he fell on his damn
jump.
knee.
Bam fell on him. Yeah. Like, I was like, all right, he can't jump. Like, he just flat out can't jump right now. You saw it every play at the rim that he would normally jump into a guy, finish, and get a foul. Like, I mean, he wasn't even attempting it.
And also, there was one play where Derek White was back in transition, and that's the guy he hunted earlier in the series.
Yeah,
and he just circled it out. He's like, he didn't have it. I'm not going to try it right now. And that was a sign to me. He either was hurting, just gassed, or just thought like he didn't have it against the Celtics defense. That game was another part of it that was really fun. Both teams did such a great job at taking away what the other team does best.
Yes, absolutely.
The Celtics packed the paint and forced Bam and Jimmy to take tough twos, and the Heat ran the Celtics off the line and took away easy 3-pointers and made them score from inside the arc. And it was like just a game where you had to do the stuff you were bad at. And I just thought that was really neat.
Yeah, I think with the coaching strategy, like, I don't know if this saved Joe Mazzulla's job. Like, he was going to get fired, I think, if they've gotten swept or lost in 5 or whatever. But they've been pretty good. Like, I know some of it is just shots falling, but, like, he's, to his credit, like, we made a lot of jokes, but Joe Mazzulla, like,
Top golf, bro. Top golf. You're on the verge of
Well,
elimination.
Wait a second. Trey, you were going to blame
bro.
Topgolf, and now you're saying this is the savior.
Yes, man. Like as
So
featured Jared Weiss,
see each other
Jared Weiss,
Top Golf,
the athletic writer. You feel me? That covers the Boston Celtics alongside our wonderful Jay King. You know what I mean?
Wonderful.
You know what I mean? Like
pretty wonderful.
Instead of being stressed out, we went stress free. You know what I'm saying? They came in relaxed. You know what? We need to bond more. We need to, like not focus on anything. We trying to see who can have the highest score. You feel me? But at this point, they came in and it worked. I don't know if you should take your high school team to go golfing before a game.
I would. I think it's a bad idea.
But at the end of the day, it worked for these boys and got them extra day.
They really might have just been practicing for their vacation.
Yeah. Well, guys,
thought they were done.
Statistically, only 2% of teams force a game 7. So let's get ready for the links.
We'll be out there next week. Might as well get some.
What if that was the strategy from Joe Mazzulla? It was like, well, you guys seem to want to go golfing, so let's go golfing. We're going to Topgolf. Like, it's just a sarcastic outing.
I'll show you it's not as fun as you think it will be. You're just going to be shaking bullshit all summer, guys.
Look, you guys all suck at golf. You're good at basketball. Go play fucking basketball better. Like, that's what you got to do.
That's ridiculous. That's so funny. The Mazzulla timeouts have gotten so much better. Like the timing in which he calls them has been really important.
You mean actually using them?
A good sense of, yes. But like in the sense of like, hey, they've gone on a run before we give up a lead. Let's call it time. And I'm not talking about the last 2 minutes of that game where it was a complete disaster and a total meltdown. But just in general, every time he's called timeouts since game 4, it has felt like the Celtics have gone on a run for the most part, or have gotten good actions out of it. Like he's gotten better. It's weird, but he's gotten better in the series.
Yeah, Jay, I think Max Headroom has a good point there of just like the ability to use the timeouts to slow things. Look that one up, kids. To slow down those runs, because it felt like the Heat before just got to do whatever they want. There was no break in the rhythm, and in the last couple of games, not even just when the Celtics are going good, it feels like they're keeping the Heat out of a rhythm.
Yeah, and they've just dialed up the defensive intensity too. Like this is last season's Boston defense again, and they haven't been that for the entire season, really. Like it's come sometimes, but hardly ever. And now they're able to not just guard the shooters, but also send help to Jimmy and Bam and keep the paint congested on those guys and contest shots without fouling. They've just done a great job defensively. And the big part offensively, which I thought changed the series, was just more side-to-side ball movement. And they didn't have as much of that in game 6. They kind of went away from that a bit in game 6. I thought that their offensive process was actually pretty bad for a lot of the game. They forced things. They weren't patient enough. But you could tell over games 4 and 5 especially, it was like pass the ball, make their help scramble, and then attack once the help is scrambled. And that was a huge key for them. So I think Mazzulla has done a nice job. And also after game 3, they were like broken mentally, spiritually, everything. Like that was a frustrated team.
Yeah.
That was so fed up with the way they were playing, the way the first 3 games had gone, and to recenter themselves after that is just so difficult. And maybe it was Topgolf. Maybe it was
Topgolf. All right, let's.
But Mazzulla deserves a lot of credit for getting them to pull out of that and come back together.
Today's show is brought to you by LinkedIn. Visit linkedin.com/NBA Show 23 for more information. Are you struggling to close deals? Cold outreach is wasting the time of both the buyer and the seller at every stage, especially when the sellers are using shallow and outdated data. Your organization can overcome these challenges with technology that translates comprehensive, high-quality buyer data into real-time insights. These deeper insights empower sales reps and teams to adopt the habits of top performers, which leads to better outcomes, like more pipeline, higher win rates, and larger deals. We call this deep sales, and we've built the first deep sales platform with the next generation of LinkedIn Sales Navigator. Right now, you can try LinkedIn Sales Navigator and get a 60-day free trial at linkedin.com/NBA Show 23. That is linkedin.com/NBA Show 23 for a 60-day free trial. Let LinkedIn Sales Navigator help you sell like a superstar today. Just go to linkedin.com/NBA Show 23 and get started.
All right. So going into game 7, Mo, what do you think is the key for each team in game 7? Like one thing for each.
I mean, it's better offensive process for Boston, as Jay was saying. Like, I didn't like their offense for the most part in game 6. And for Miami side, finding a way to just help Jimmy Butler. And the role players are going to have another unbelievable game, and Jimmy's got to be.
They've been unreal,
find
man.
a way to dig deep. They've been great. They carried them in this game 6, but like
Caleb Martin's the best.
Get Jimmy new legs.
Caleb Martin's the best non-rookie deal in the league. Like,
Caleb Martin is a god.
Yeah,
he is a god.
He's legitimately good. It makes me wonder, Cody Martin, the fuck, like.
Somebody's signing Cody Martin right now. Somebody's bringing him in though.
Yeah, just like, well, I don't know. His brother's doing it. Like,
maybe you got it. Like somebody's doing it.
Trey, what do you think is a key for both teams Monday night game 7?
So the key for Boston is just to come out hot and put them to bed early.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't even play with their food. Just get it done early on. You look up, it's 33-10. Like, that's how they got to kind of take care of business. Miami, look, you got to just every loose ball, like box, like over stuff, like get a ball. Jimmy going to have to get a lot of shot attempts. Bam's going to have to play a better game. Those guys who have been, overachieving or whatever it is, they're like the Vincents, the Robinsons, those guys need to make shots. They need to be super effective. Kyle Lowry's going to have to give some, even more. Like I said, this is one of those things, and the pressure's on them because it's not on Boston. Boston, they're at home, cool. I mean, well, you're right a little bit. It's the pressure on both. I mean, the idea that they got home court advantage and this team is about to blow a 3-0 lead. They both pressured, but at the end of the day, it's only one winner. So you gotta, these are the ways of. You hope that it works in your favor. You hope that your shot's falling. But at the end of the day, I think it's going to be I don't think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be out of reach. Yeah.
Wow.
Because this is the thing. Not saying it's a blowout for Boston either, because it might be the Heat. It just depends what team shows up.
Yeah.
Because if they start shooting bad, then Boston going to run it up. Yeah. They're going to win by like 12. Or Boston just making everything, and then they up by 22 and then probably win by like 9. You know what I mean? Like, it's just weird. So it's just like, nobody's safe in this particular situation. I don't see it going. Who I would like to see win, if I have to pick, I would like to see the Boston Celtics, because it'd be more, I feel like it lines
to be
up
the first,
as far as team.
Yeah, and to be the first team to be the 0-3 comeback, that
too. But then also from a Miami Heat perspective, if they were to so happen to get Tyler Hero, then I would be like, okay, I want to see this. But like with no Tyler Hero and them being kind of banged up,
it might be a quick finals.
Yeah, it'll be a quick one. You know what I'm saying? I don't really enjoy that. You know what I'm saying? I actually want to watch a competitive finals. You know what I mean? Like, not saying that Miami Heat haven't been competing. They've been competing with what they've had. They've turned water into wine. But for the finals, I don't like that matchup for them.
We should also note this is the first time the game 7 is played at home for the team that was down 0-3. Yeah. Like all the other times, it was the underdog made the comeback, and then. In this case here, it was the underdog took the 3-0 lead.
Also, none of these have happened in the Facebook era. So like that, I don't know how much we're going to lead on Rochester versus the Knicks.
I get that. But also, like, normally in this situation, it's Boston would be the team that had gone 3-0, and it's the underdogs that make the comeback. This is kind of what made this whole situation weird, and Boston's going to have home court. I don't know if we're ever going to see that again.
Jay, what's the key for each team?
The Celtics need to force turnovers. their ability to force turnovers in games 4 and 5 was a huge key to creating their offensive pace, their offensive space, all the 3-point attempts they were able to get up. The Heat only had 5 turnovers in game 6.
Yeah.
They were able to take care of the ball. Some of the stats they had, like, it's crazy they didn't win that game. They had 5 turnovers compared to 12 for the Celtics. They had 17 offensive rebounds compared to 12 for the Celtics. And they shot 40 some odd percent from 3, while the Celtics went 7 for 35 and hit 7 more threes than the Celtics. It was almost impossible for them to lose that game with those 3 stats. So I just think the Celtics need to force some turnovers, get out in transition. If they do that in TD Garden, that place is going to go nuts. And if that place goes nuts, it's going to be tough for the Heat to withstand that, even though I expect Jimmy Butler to play a lot better. I remember last year in the series against the Celtics, in the middle of that series, he hurt his knee. He was looking like he didn't have much left. And then all of a sudden he was scoring 40-something points and totally dominant. And that's just kind of what Jimmy Butler does.
That's what he does, yeah.
Game 7, he's going to be hell.
All right. Mo, who wins?
Boston.
Jay, who wins?
Boston.
Trey, who wins?
Boston.
There you go.
Say it louder. Say it with your chest.
Heat culture. No one's ever done it. I refuse to believe that a comeback is going to happen until I actually see it. And you know what? You know who's going to do this? You know who's going to do this? 30 points from Kyle Lowry. That felt weird to say. That felt weird to say.
You don't even believe that. You don't even believe that.
But Kyle Lowry over everything, motherfuckers. Thank you for listening. For Trey, for Jay, for the fax machine that Mo Dakil's used to connect to us via Zoom. For Dave DeFore, I'm Zach. Keep it locked on The Athletic. Enjoy Game 7.